the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna is to take this knowledge of Advaita and to keep it in your pocket, or as he said, to tie it in the corner of your dhoti. The dhoti is that skirt-like wraparound that Indian men often wear. And sometimes when they want to keep something, there's no pockets on those things, so they tie it into the corner of their dhoti to hold on to it. And Advaita is this knowledge that the ultimate reality is one without a second. And it's the idea that I like to play around with quite a bit as I talk about dreams and how much they can teach us about the nature of this reality. And yesterday, or day before yesterday, I guess, we were talking about, how everything is within us, that there is no real way to verify an external world and whatnot, and just enjoying that kind of thinking. And so I was thinking, well, in what way could we use this? I really think that dreaming is a grand way of learning about reality, in that we can see the power of the mind. And when teachers like Sri Ramakrishna and of course many other, Ramana Maharshi and all of the Advaitins of the Vedanta tradition that go back thousands and thousands of years, teach this ultimate reality, how to use that. And so I was thinking, in the dream, where we can learn so much about the nature of this reality, we can see one without a second, right? Because in the dream, you can have multitudes of people, multitudes of things, and everything in there is made of dream material, whatever it is that our mind uses to create that environment, that world that we inhabit. We can see that we are equally everything, like the scriptures say, that God is one, that God has become all of this. And you can use the dream to kind of get a grasp of how that could be, that there's a single mind there, and that mind stuff has become everything in your dream, that nothing in your dream is as it seems, but it will present itself and will not betray itself to you as being something other than what it appears to be. And so you can use Advaita in that way, and use the dream in that way to get that idea, carry that with you. Knowing that everyone in that dream is your very own self, another teaching of the Vedanta, that all of us, that God has become all of us. Actually, the Bible, the Christian scriptures say the same thing in the first chapter of John, that, this word, which was with God and was God, becomes all things. If you read it, it certainly manifests in its purest form as Jesus, right? But in later on in that same chapter, it says that actually the Word became everything, that all of us are Word. And so again, you get this Advaitic implication there. And also in how we treat one another, seeing and knowing that we are one, that we are all of this same self. You can learn to treat people with an equanimity instead of walking around thinking you're going to get something from somebody. You know that you and they are one, and so there's none of that neediness. What can you get from somebody who is you? And so we begin to understand each other on a different level, that the thing that we have to share with each other is our nature of love, our nature of wisdom, and that we can start treating each other with love and with wisdom, to have fulfilling relationships, to have healthy relationships that aren't out of balance and based on codependence or neediness on our part. There's just many fun ways to use your dream with the idea of this ultimate reality of one without a second, in order to see how it implies all of the other teachings of virtue. That ultimate love is oneness. It's treating others as you'd like to treat yourself, when in fact the way you treat others is the way you're treating yourself in that paradigm. When Jesus said, I tell you the truth, you can tell if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, and say to this mountain, throw yourself in the sea. And he said, verily, I tell you the truth, this mountain will throw itself into the sea. Well, if you've got a material world that's separate and apart from you, that requires a miracle, and it's a lot more difficult to cough up than if you understand that this all exists within the mind of the divine. And you say, well, that's a far stretch. But again, the sages teach that. Sri Ramakrishna taught that pure mind, the mind with no me and mine in it, that the pure mind and Brahman, or God, are one. And so it already teaches that we live in a mind, right? Several different teachers, whether it's Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj or others, that they teach that the nature of this universe, that everything is mind. And these are just some instances of how using your dreams as an example of Advaita, or the ultimate reality of one without a second, can betray so much to you, can teach you how these seemingly outrageous truths that seem to violate the experience of a body-mind can be true, that there can be things going on that we don't know and that can't be sussed out by taking things as they are. One of the other interesting implications, that if this were true, that all of this was mind, then all we've ever studied is mind. There are not things out there to study, which might be why it's so difficult to find that ultimate particle, why it's so difficult to bend our minds around some of the things that quantum physics is showing us to be true. And it might just be a real game changer to come to that understanding and that conclusion. But all of that's just for fun. Use this to build your knowledge of yourself and to find that true nature within you that is that beautiful, unconditioned love, that amazing and wondrous, infinite wisdom, and to find a way of really appreciating and finding the bliss that's inherent in simply being.